it is time for step 12. I know we're coming to the end and you're all thinking, my God, where are my safety goggles? All the loose ends are coming together at once. Fair enough. It's okay. Be careful. Don't hurt yourself. Nothing's really coming together at once. It's just leading up to nothing. I'm just kidding. Okay, step 12. All right. So, spiritual awakening. What is a spiritual awakening? So this is what it's talking about in the beginning of the step. Spiritual awakening. So if you are, like I was when I first came in, anything spiritual in nature was basically scoffed at. Now I would pay lip service to it outwardly, but inside I was scoffing and saying, yeah, it's not really for me, right? So I still hadn't made that transition into an honest human. But what I was told, which I really appreciated, was that really it's a psychic change. Okay? It's a psychic change. Or, as it talks about in a part of the big book, which I don't remember and I don't really care, but it's in there, and if you're interested, you can look it up. With Google, you can search it. You can find the page. Okay? But it talks about a fundamental alteration to my perception. And again, my perception of the word. Okay? Now, obviously, I am summarizing and I am not quoting because I don't know where the quote is or what exactly it says. But this is the essence of it. A fundamental alteration to my perception, okay, of things. That has happened. Even though I still scoffed at the God stuff, okay, this I knew had happened. Because as soon as I stopped drinking, I all of a sudden realized I could stop drinking. It didn't even occur to me that I needed to before. Right? So that awakening came gradually for me. It was of the educational variety, which is what a lot of people talk about. Okay? Now, if you want to read about the educational variety, if you have a big book, look it up in the back under Spiritual Awakening, and you will be able to read about that. What it's talking about is a gradual unearthing of a connection to a God type thing, right? But it's gradual. It was for me. I didn't have the white light like Bill W. did, or like lots of other people say they did. I didn't have that. I had a gradual experience where I came to believe in something after time. A lot of time went by to prove to me that what I was believing in existed, right? Now, I didn't know what kind of God it was, made all kinds of thoughts and choices about it, but I had no idea. Still don't. It's just the educational variety is that it gradually happened over time. Okay? So that is a spiritual awakening or psychic change. Something changed in here. A fundamental thing is now different for me to not live life trying to get drunk all the time. Okay? And on top of that, the other lifestyle things that came along with that, right? Like for me, part of that, my lifestyle was stealing and promiscuity. And so that has no place in this new life, right? And it's just taken a lot of years in recovery to get to a place where that reality now matches up to what I wish for myself, right? So those things have come together in some ways. Not all of the things, but some of them for sure. Okay, so next part of step 12, okay? Spiritual awakening as a result of doing the work, right? So that's what the spiritual awakening is connected to. In the step, it talks about as the result of doing the steps specifically. But I believe it can happen in many different ways because we know there's more than one religion, and if there's as many religions as we have, chances are none of them are right. But they're all right. Maybe they're all wrong. I don't know. You can figure that out on your own. We don't have enough time to get into that. So the next part of this is carrying the message. Okay, what message are we carrying? Well, we want to carry a message of hope. Okay, and frankly, by the time we work through this to a certain extent, we will want to probably bring more hope and less bullshit wherever we go. Right? So the message we're carrying is hope of what it was like out there practicing. Okay, what happened? So basically, what was the bottom? What occurred to get us to change? And then what it is like now. Okay? So this is what we're going to tell, and we're telling our story. We're not telling other people's stories because People, first of all, we know that. Somehow we can tell when someone's telling us someone else's stuff. Mind you, if I am speaking about someone else, I may absolutely tell you if I have permission. But what it was like when we were practicing, what happened, what it's like now. Now, when we tell that message, we're going to, over and over again, we're going to be able to see where we need to, see where we can adjust. Okay? Where we can adjust. And what I mean is, as we tell our story and we live longer in recovery, our story changes. Not because we were telling lies, but because we were telling a part of our story maybe the first time, until the 20th time, or however many times we tell it, we become more comfortable with facts, right? The more we tell it, the more matter of fact it becomes. That's been my experience. One of the reasons why I really appreciate that we have a podcast together, Darcy and I, and that it's helping, some people feel it's helping end stigma. I am so grateful to hear that, because that is what it was all about. Okay, so the message, hope, okay, what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. And if you are in a better place now than you were back here, chances are that's going to help somebody, okay? It might help somebody anyway, you just don't know. That's why we try to carry our message and share it as openly as we can, given whatever constraints we might have for work or whatever else, okay? So, last part of step 12 is a principled life, okay? We're trying to live by principles. And the principles we're living by, okay, are not selfish, ego-seeking principles, okay? It's not. It's not that. What we're looking at are some principles that, whenever I've worked with, over the last couple of years anyway, when I've worked with atheists, or agnostics, either way, is what I try to do, get around the spiritual stuff. What we're trying to do, essentially, is the last bit of step 12, how it reads, right? We practice these principles in all our affairs. So, if we have trouble with God stuff, fair enough, okay? We want to try to get to a place where we simply live principled lives. Okay? What are the principles? Well, the 12 steps have 12 principles. Now, there's a couple of different variations depending on where you look, but I got this two that I found the most common, where the first one is honesty. Okay? That is exactly why I've harped on honesty every video, is because honesty is the foundation of change, right? If I'm not honest about what I'm doing wrong, or doing poorly, or doing selfishly, how can I change, right? So honesty, and then hope. Okay, and then step 3 is surrender and or faith. Okay, those are the two I found most common. Courage is number 4. Okay, number 5 is integrity. Number 6 is willingness. Okay, number 7 is humility. Okay, we're getting out of the way. We don't know what we're doing. We're getting out of the way. We're becoming a little bit more humble. 8, some say it's love. Others say it's love. Some say it's love. Some say discipline. I don't know where I got that one from. That seems wrong, but whatever. Love, discipline, self-discipline. Sorry. Self-discipline. 9, responsibility. So if we can acknowledge that we've been irresponsible, obviously if we strive to be responsible, we might start doing some positive things for other people. So another one for 9, responsibility and love for others. Okay? Step 10, discipline. Perseverance. Okay, so we're going to take a second here to talk about discipline. Okay? Because discipline is not a bad word. Discipline makes life easier. Okay? But here's the thing. You get to decide what your discipline is going to look like. That's what you're doing when you develop a practice. Okay? You're basically designing your life. Okay? So, if you make it a disciplined one, you're going to have a better time. Right? Just because everything's easier when you got a plan, right? And by discipline is a plan built into memory, right? That we keep doing regardless of how we feel, what we think. Anyway, discipline, perseverance. Then we have awareness or spiritual awareness. Awareness. And then 12, this would be of service. Okay? So, if I was working with someone who was atheist, and we get to step 12, and trust me, no matter whether you're atheist, agnostic, or a firm believer, these are difficult steps for everybody. I've yet to meet anybody who gets through them without thinking twice about their life, right? So anyway, if we have to skip the God stuff, then we simply try to live principled lives, okay? So where I might lie, I want to be honest. Where I might be negative and cynical, I want to try to find some hope, right? I want to, even if that hope is all that I can clamor for, right? Whatever it looks like. Surrender, faith, obviously we got to surrender something to get out of the way, right? Courage, integrity, willingness, humility, love, self-discipline, responsibility, love for others, discipline, perseverance. Man, these are all really good principles. And service is probably one of the most important ones, right? To be of use to other people. And for myself, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but for myself, a good portion of my life had been an imitation of service to others prior to sobering up. I worked hard for people. I'm not saying I didn't work hard. I'm not saying that my life was all bad before I stopped drinking, because it wasn't. I had a life that I couldn't have dreamt of, but it was definitely getting worse and worse, right? And my service to others was out the window. I was only doing work at that point for others at the end of my drinking and using. So now service has taken on a whole new picture. Basically, the end of my prayer and meditation most days is me coming to terms with the fact that I need to help somebody else. And I need to be useful to other people. Now, I don't go out and force myself on other people. Those days are long gone. Because there's lots of people who need help that reach out. And if I'm available, really what I want to do is be willing. Right? Be willing to take on whatever comes to me that seems rational and reasonable to take on. Okay? And obviously, through years of sobriety and practicing this stuff, becoming discerning about those things that we do, right, in terms of service. Because is it service if I'm chasing somebody around trying to get them to go my way and think about things the way I think about things? That's not service, right? That's something totally different. Bullying, all kinds of other words would come to mind. But anyways, so we've been through steps 1 through 12 in a very concise, specific kind of way. Now, I encourage you, ask other people for help. If you're going to go through these steps and you want to do them word for word and step for step, find someone who understands, who can help take you through them. Okay? You can absolutely reach out to us at Freedom's Path Recovery Society. Somebody will be able to help you. It could be me or it could be somebody else if you don't like the cut of my jib. I'm not offended by that. That's why I'm not the only facilitator that we have. So anyway, take care. Godspeed.